Hello, and thanks for joining me on another gardening episode. This week I am starting my slips for the sweet potatoes. So I'm going to begin by adding mortar to the bottom tray. When I do my sweet potatoes, I do start them in soil. I had tried to start them in water before and I didn't have any success. I do the double tray method where the top tray is a slotted tray and the bottom tray has the water, and I just press the sweet potato in the soil. I do try to pick sweet potatoes that are a regular size, but since I'm using the purple sweet potatoes here that I grew in my garden myself last year, they had a pretty odd shape to them. So I just tried to pick the most uniform and ones that weren't too big or weren't too small, with the exception of this monster one right here. But it wasn't something that I wanted to cook something with, so I just put that in the tray. Now these are purple on purple sweet potatoes that I grew, so the flesh is purple and so is the skin. Due to a mislabeling error, I didn't have any orange sweet potatoes, so I bought an organic sweet potato from the store and I'm using that to plant. So these have an orange hue to the skin and a orange colored flesh. There's a lot of different varieties that you can grow for your sweet potatoes, but these are the two that are my preference. I also didn't want to overload the tray, so I just did 3 of each, and I'm hoping that these are prolific. Last year was my first year growing sweet potatoes and I didn't have a lot of slips to come up, so I'm hoping for better success this year as these are going to be resting on a heat mat. But there isn't much to it. That's really basically it, just the soil and the sweet potato. You can always research which method you're going to try and do the one that's best for you. Made some changes. These are where the turmeric is. I took them out of the long tray and put them in their own separate pots, trying to regulate the water a little bit better. This is the ginger. I restarted using the method from the rustic garden. I will link the video above. You can click on that if you want to try the method, but they're basically kept in a freezer bag until they sprout and then put into soil. Over here I've got my 6 Tabasco sprouts. I have 1 sprout of cayenne and no Hungarian yellow wax and no habanero yet. I still have about 7 more days before I hit the 21-day mark. Usually the hot peppers take the longest, so the habaneros are the last one, so I'm not concerned yet. But if I get to 21 days and I don't have any sprouts, when I do my sweet peppers, I will also plant a few of the hot peppers as well. Down here is another tray of microgreens. I've got some sprouts. It's only been like 3 days. These trays are really impressing me this year. It might be the heat mat, but it used to take about 7 to 10 days before I'd get a tray I could use, and now I'm doing about 5 to 6 days. Here I have my tray of sweet potatoes. They are on a heat mat, and once they start sprouting, I'll just be taking the slips and replanting them, maybe in their own bags, maybe in a pot. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do, but this is how I'm going to sprout my sweet potatoes. Swinging over here to grow station number 2. I've got the lavender that I started over here. This is the second batch of it, and they're starting to sprout here. Mint, growing. This is another tray of lavender. This is about 2 weeks ahead of the other style. And this is Munstead lavender in the front and Vera or True Lavender in the back. This is a whole tray of spike lavender. So with the lavender, I'm going to be thinning these out. I haven't decided how many I'm gonna keep, but I'm definitely gonna thin these. I'm not gonna try to plant all of them. For my peppers, I have cayenne, one cayenne over here, and that is jalapeno in the back. Now over here, I have some Hungarian yellow wax that's sprouting. Looks like I have 3 sprouts on Hungarian yellow wax. One hasn't broken the soil. Actually 4, there's 2 that haven't broken the soil. I'll try to point those out. There's one here that hasn't broken the soil. And one right here that hasn't broken the soil. So I've got some Hungarian wax over here. No habanero, but I've got 1 Tabasco and 2 jalapeno in this tray. So things are doing well. My onions have graduated to grow station 3. So even though I trimmed them last week, you see that they're still growing and still reaching towards. I come and do this. This mimics the wind since I don't have a fan in here, but I should probably put a fan in here. I say that because the temperature is getting hot during the day because I'm adding more lights. Each level gets another light. So I gotta pay attention to that. I don't want it to get too hot in the grow area. Everything else is looking good. I'm really excited for this grow season. I hope you join me. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the content.